Hello everyone. Let's continue our chapter The Fruit. Now today's topic is the seed. As in our previous chapter, I have taught you about the fertilization. Now what happened with after fertilization? There is formation of seed take place. Ovule changes into seed. So what is a seed? A fertilized ovule is known as a seed. A fertilized ovule is known as a seed. Now there are two types of seed. Basically there are two types of seeds, monocotyledons and dicotyledons. Mono, the word mono declares means one. There is only one cotyledon in such type of seeds, and you will find these type of seeds in maize, in wheat, in this type of plants. And dicotyledons, where di means two, where you will find two cotyledons. When you open the seed, you will find there are two cotyledons in a seed, and such a seeds you will find in bean, in pea, in gram. Like these plants, you will find dicotyledons. That's why these plants are called monocot, and these plants are called dicot plants. Now let's move to the detailed structure of a seed. So here we will explain both the structures, the dicot plant seed structure and monocot plant seed structure, monocotyledons. So let's start with the structure of a bean seed. Here we will explain bean seed for monocot and for maize grain for monocotyledons. Let's start with bean seed. Now in bean seed, this is the external structure I have drawn, and this one is the LS of bean seed. Means when you cut the see the structure, and when you cut the longitudinal section of a bean seed, then you will find these parts in it. Let's have a detail of it. In external structure, when you see a bean seed, there is a covering present on it. This is called testa. Testa means this is the seed coat. The covering is basically seed coat, and the upper covering is called testa. And there are two coverings in it, testa and tegmen. Tegmen is the inner one, which is thin, slightly thin, and the testa is the outermost one, which is slightly thicker than the tegmen. Now inside it, in external structure, there is a scar present, which is from where the seed is attached to the fruit wall, hilum, and this scar is called hilum. From here the seed is attached to the fruit wall. That's why here you will find a scar here. And on the hilum you will find a small pore, which is called micropyle. Micropyle is the pore which allows and absorbs as much water as required for germination. From this pore, the seed absorbs water for the germination, and as much required water, as much it is absorbed by seed. Now, just above it, there is position of radicle present here. This one is the external structure of a bean seed, and let's move on. Its internal structure means it's LS. When you remove the testa seed coat, then just below it you will find tegmen, and just remove it. Then you will find there are two cotyledons present in bean seed. These are like this. You will find the two cotyledons. And when you open this, you will see this is the structure of a single one we are detailing here. Now I have explained testa, tegmen, and this one whole portion is cotyledon. This is the cotyledon. And here it is present micropyle, the pore from where it absorbs water, and just above it there is a embryo present. Here is embryo present. The above portion of embryo is called plumule, which will in future develop the shoot system. And below it there is a portion which is called radicle, which will in future develop the root system. So this is the detailed structure, Allus of bean seed. Now let's revise it. Seed coat I have explained. Testa is the seed coat of testa with tegumen, form the seed coat of the bean seed, and its function is to protect the seed from insects, from bacteria, and from any mechanical injury. From all these things, it protects the seed from and protect the embryo which is present inside it. And micropyle, it is the pore which absorbs the water. Cotyledon, it stores the food. It stores the food for the growth of embryo. When the embryo will start germination, then it will get food from the cotyledon and it will absorb food from the cotyledon. So it stores food for the growth of seedling. And embryo, I have explained, plumule and radicle. These are the two portions of embryo in which plumule develop into shoot system and radicle develop into root system. Let's move to the maize grain monocot seed. Here it is drawn the external structure of maize grain, and here it is the allus of maize grain. In external structure, if you see a maize grain, it is slightly triangular shaped, and you will find the lower portion is slightly yellowish whitish and the upper portion is dark yellowish. This one is the endosperm portion which we usually eat. We eat the whole grain of the maize, but this one portion is endosperm. And when you soak the maize grain in water, and then you will find and you cut down the longitudinal section, of maize grain, then you will find these portions which I have explained you here. See, here when you cut it down, then you will find the two portions. The uppermost portion, which is dark yellowish color, it is endosperm portion, and the whole of the seed is covered by a layer. This is called fruit wall. Here the fruit wall is having seed coat fused with pericarp. This fruit wall is having both the seed coat and pericarp. Both are fused together and form the fruit wall of maize grain. And inside it there is a layer present which is called aileron layer. It is the protein layer. These are having protein granules in aileron layer. It is a protein layer. And this one portion, the large portion is endosperm. And just beneath it there is, at the apex of the maize grain, there is presence of cotyledon. There is presence of cotyledon, and cotyledon is having in it the embryo. In embryo, the upper portion, the embryo is having plumule here and radicle here. This is both forming the embryo portion. The embryo is covered by a structure, a triangular structure covering, that is called coleoptile. Coleoptile is the layer which covered the plumule. Coleoptile, it covered the plumule. Means it is a sheath. It is a sheath-like structure which covers the plumule. And in the same way, when you come to the radicle, here at the apex, there is a portion, this is called coleorhiza, a triangular portion like this, coleorhiza. Coleorhiza is the portion which covers radicle. It covers the radicle. It is called coleorhiza. Radicle covering sheath. Radicle covering sheath coleorhiza, and the plumule covering sheath is coleoptile. And there is a pore present just below the coleoptile. So axis of the embryo is embedded in the cotyledon here. And here endosperm is the portion which stores the starch. The food is stored in the form of starch in maize grain in endosperm portion. And the cotyledon is also called scutellum. Cotyledon portion is also called scutellum. And there is a single layer of epithelial layer present between endosperm and cotyledon, which divide them unequally. This is called epithelial layer. This epithelial layer divides the maize grain unequally. The endosperm portion is slightly larger and the cotyledon portion is slightly smaller than the endosperm. In this way, the structure of bean grain and maize grain both are I have explained to you. Now see, there is a very common question which comes mostly in examinations: is what is the difference between monocot seed and dicot seed. On the basis of this structure, you should be able to answer this question, the differences between dicot seed and monocot seed. Let's start here with the help of bean seed and maize grain. We will explain. With the help of this bean seed and maize grain, I will explain here the difference between dicot seed and monocot seed. Here, as given, bean seed is a dicot seed, maize grain is a monocot seed. Here, see, endosperm is absent here. Here, the food is stored in cotyledon. In bean seed. In maize seed, here the food is stored in endosperm in the form of starch. So, this is one difference. Endosperm is absent in bean seed and endosperm is present in maize grain or monocot seed. Cotyledons store food and here endosperms store food. Here embryo is large. Embryo is large. You can see very clearly the plumule, the reticulates is very clearly seen when you open the seed. When you remove the seed coat, then it is very clearly visible in a bean seed. But in maize seed, it is not very clearly visible. It is embedded inside the cotyledon. And here embryo is smaller. Here seed coat contains two portions of seed coat, testa and tegmen. Testa is slightly thicker, tegmen is slightly inner and thinner. Tegmen is inner covering which is thinner and testa is outer covering, this is thicker. And in maize, the seed coat is fused with pericarp and make the fruit wall of the grain. In this way, and so it is called, that's why it is called a grain. Maize grain is not called a maize seed, it is called a grain because seed coat is fused with pericarp in it. That's why it is called a grain. Yeah. Now see germination. The process by which an embryo within the seed becomes active and grows into a young plant is called germination. And when will a seed become active? When it will get favorable temperature, favorable conditions. These favorable conditions are favorable temperature, air and water. These three things are needed to become a seed and active. So when it will get all these three conditions, all these three conditions are necessary to germinate. And then what will happen? The plumule will start germinating towards the sunlight and plumule will start germinating towards the earth. And plumule will form shoot system and radicle will form the root system. So when a seed is shown, or either you soak it, also you soak it in water, then it will start sprouting and then it will form a seedling. Sprouting means the embryo will start germinating. It will get enlarged. Then it will form a seedling and then it will grow into a mature plant. And this way the germination takes place. The seed becomes active and grows into a young plant. Now in some plants there is seed produced only once in a year, like wheat and marigold. And after that the plants die out. And then again you have to sow the seeds. Then again the plant will grow up and it will give you seed. Only once in a year they produce the seeds. But there are some plants which you but there are some plants from where you will get continue seeds all over the year. Means those plants which produce seeds for many years, like mango, apple, these type of plants. Now conditions necessary for germination, as I told you, the conditions like water, air, favorable temperature. These are the three conditions very much necessary for the germination of a seed. Water is necessary to carry out all the life processes in every living being. In the same way, seed also need water to germinate. When it will get water, then the chemical reactions will start occurring in it. It will get the water and it will start doing its it will absorb through micropiles of water and will start growing up. So water is very much necessary. Then air is also necessary, as for respiration all living beings need oxygen. In the same way, the seed is also needed oxygen. In presence of it, the cotyledon, the stored food in cotyledon get oxidized to release the energy, and this energy is necessary for the growth of embryo. The embryo, how it will grow? It will get the energy from the oxidation of the food stored in the cotyledons, so that air is very much necessary. Oxygen is very much necessary for the growth of a seed. Now, third one is favorable temperature, suitable temperature. As you know, all the chemical activities assisted by enzymes, they need a suitable temperature, because if the temperature is not suitable, it is low or high, then it will not work properly. The chemical activity, chemical reaction will not go on properly. So to carry on the chemical reaction, the enzymes need a suitable temperature. Here the suitable temperature is 35 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade. This is the suitable temperature for the germination of a seed. 35 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade. And either if the temperature is low it or higher than it, then it is not suitable for the growth of the seed. That's why a favorable temperature or suitable temperature is needed for the assistance of the enzyme, so that the reaction will carry on and it will then help the seed to grow. In this way, the germination takes place. Now I am going to explain you activities, how the germination takes place in different seeds like bean seed, pea seed, and maize grain. And there is hypogeal and epigeal germination, which I am going to explain you. As here, this one portion of plumule, it is epicotyle portion, because it will go outside the soil toward the sunlight. It is epicotyle, and this radical portion is also called hypocotyle, as it will go downward towards the soil. That's why it is called hypocotyle. Now I'm going to explain hypogeal and epigeal germination. The difference between epigeal and hypogeal germination.